Well, look, we were talking about this backstage, but it might surprise some people, and it's slightly surprising to me because we did do gigs back in the day together, but you haven't done much actual live in theatre on your own in front of an audience work until the last couple of years, and now you've suddenly gone crazy for doing.
Well, yeah, I've done the most live stuff I've ever done in my life, and it's like, I really love it. I was nervous about it because I'd had this kind of weird period in my career where I didn't quite know what I ought to do, and I was doing I tried doing stand-up for like a couple of years, and I wasn't really very good at it, you know. I realized, but I learned a lot of things like puns don't work well in a live situation. Usually, even if they're really good, people go, and a thing that's always terrified me about doing stand-up is dealing with hecklers and looking like a pathetic wimp on stage, not knowing how to put somebody in their place. You know, like you can do, like it seems instinctive, but it's like I remember you telling me at the time, it's like there's no substitute for stage time. Is that what you call it, right?
Yeah. So I mean, I think that's really the case because when I first did stand up in the 1989 or 1990,
wow,
you know, you would get heckled a lot. Well, I would get heckled a lot,
right?
And you know, and sometimes I got angry. I remember once I sort of kicked a guy in the head. He was, which was probably not the right. It was only very gently.
Right.
He was going on quite a lot, but he was sort of sitting like, you know, there's Andy there. He was sort of sitting there, and I was on stage here, and he was a bit closer. I just went like that. My friends were in, and Neil Morrissey was in as well, actually, at the bar. It was that sort of thing.
Oh, bloody hell, mate. Yeah. Hey, Rich, you went, really. That was too far, mate. That was bloody too far. I mean,
so they were very impressed that I kicked a guy. So kicking a guy in the head is the wrong thing to do.
Right,
That's too much.
Yeah. But... So I didn't enjoy the sort of, you know, another thing that comes with having this stage time is figuring out what your stage persona is, and this sort of stand-up version of yourself, or how would you describe that? Your stand-up persona?
Yeah.
And I just didn't have one. I didn't really. I don't know. I was sort of. It certainly didn't come naturally to me, and then so I then a couple of years ago I was asked if there was some interest in doing a Brian Butterfield theatre tour.
Yeah.
And I think because thank you.
Oh, thank you. Yes, so it's actually very weird doing it without all the prosthetic. There's a lot of prosthetic makeup that goes on. It looks very realistic. Some of it is made from actual human flesh, but they grow. It's grown, you know, but it's still pretty gross.
Yeah.
But yes, so I did this. I ended up doing this tour of Brian Butterfield, where with me and the writers, we got it. It was like within about 3 months of being asked, we were rehearsing the show, and we had all these dates, and like. It was really cool. It was the show. I don't know. Did anyone see the show? Yeah, dudes! Wow, cool. All right, great. So, So for those people who didn't see it, it was like a kind of business seminar, you know, and so it's like, you know, there was lots of me presenting stuff, but we wanted to get as much audience interaction as possible.
Yeah.
And sometimes audience members think that they're funnier or cleverer than the person on stage who's been paid handsomely to be there.
And yeah, so it was. What was funny it was scary for me, right? First of all, thinking. Because other than like the audience members that I get up on stage, it's me on stage the whole time, and like, yeah, it's just it's scary, right? Yeah. And especially So I was thinking, well, I've got the protection. I've got this, like, it's like a physical protection. I'm inside, basically operating this larger man, right, from inside. And so I've got this actual physical protection, but then I've got the psychological protection of, like, it's this character, right? So it's not me. It's not people personally, attacking me. It's more... I was pretending to be all emotional then. I don't know whether it came out. Maybe I was a bit too subtle, and you think, "Wow, is he okay?" But anyway, that's what I was trying to do. If you were wondering, and so I was kind of getting my head around how to deal with people, because there were, like, pretty much every performance there was somebody. There was so much interaction with the audience, and for the most part, people joined in the world, and it was just great. And we had, like, when we did the first tour last year, we had meets and greet after the show,
where I would stay in character and in the full makeup and prosthetics and wig and costume, of course. And I would meet them, and they would all the people who would stay behind, if you lasted through the entire seminar, you earned a certificate, which I would sign at the end, which means you graduated Butterfield University. And I would sign it, and it was so weird, because, like, these people, there would be like 100 people waiting in the queue, and they were all grown-up people, but it was like they were very kind of well-behaved and excited in a way, like that when you see kids waiting to see who they believe is the real Santa.
Yes. I mean, you are the real Brian.
Yeah, I am. Yeah, but like talking to them, like when I would sign their things, I would say, "Well, congratulations, well done. And what are you up to at the moment?"
And they'd be like, "Well, Brian, talk to me as Brian." It was such a weird thing, and I don't really. It seemed obvious to me and the writers that we should do this after the show, but, like, I realized I don't think it's a thing that people do, like a character a guy in character doing a comedy character and then stays behind afterwards in character.
Yeah, that is unusual, but it's great.
I
mean, you should be in character all the time.
For
the rest of your life. I think if you are really committed.
I mean, I think all of us are to an extent, Rich. Thank you.
Spontaneous applause.
We're all actors.
We're all actors. I mean, it's sort of extraordinary, because this was... I mean, we definitely talked about your sketch show last time you were on, or maybe the previous time. But it was one series, and that was a little part of that series, right?
Yeah.
So it sort of... It speaks... I mean, that series was just absolutely one of the best sketch shows, I think.
Oh, thanks, man.
We've had, certainly this century. And it's kind of crazy there wasn't more, but to be able to take a character from what would be a short-lived, what we see as a short-lived TV show from that long ago, and to bring it back and for it to sell out and be this successful, it's extraordinary, isn't it?
Well, yeah. I mean, it is. I suppose it's enjoyed in a way I didn't really expect. Although, like, it was me and my brother James who's like he was the co-writer and he was the producer of that show, and he's since gone on to do, like, he wrote with Nat Saunders. Do you know Sick Note?
Yes.
He did. So James wrote Sick Note and with Nat, and this other one I can't remember the name of, with Nick Frost in it, and Samson Kayo. Anybody know what I'm talking about? About, like, the paranormal. Truth Seekers, yeah. So when we came up with the sketch show, it was just meant to be like a parody of TV, but it was like the thing was, we put it on YouTube, and it was like, I think it was like we sort of had a feeling that if you put it on YouTube, it would just stick around.
Yeah.
And and we were right. But things do. I mean, that's like a big. It's like a big weird problem now with the whole internet and YouTube and stuff. Is like, I don't know. It just seems like there's a kind of lack of new original stuff, and it's just like lots of the same kind of old stuff just popping up. You know.
I guess the thing with Brian Butterfield is that it's. I think it's become even more relevant. It's sort of Trump, and he's sort of that guy.
Yeah, I guess.
He's a guy setting up a load of stupid businesses that are all ultimately shit.
He is. But there's a difference because he's got integrity. So he's never out to defraud anybody.
No.
And in a way, he represents. I think he represents like my and our business. My simplistic understanding of the world of business, and like how business fundamentally is honest, right? It's like he's fundamentally honest, I think, and it's like, and he's also quite naive, and I think that's what gives him. It's that kind of sweetness about him that allows us to kind of gives us teeth for we can have some kind of biting jokes that you don't really expect, because he's such a kind of, he's so naive, in lots of ways. So, but that's I think it would be too. I guess as well. I can't really think of like how funny it would be to do that. The normal comedic thing of exaggerating the traits of somebody. To exaggerate the traits of a money-grabbing businessman. It's like everyone's beyond parody now anyway. With Trump, it's like really satire just had to really fucking change because like this fucking dude, man. I mean,